Hello everyone, my name is David Anika, and for the project Teachback, I'm going to be covering C++ functions. Before I begin with the functions, I wanted to address two things. Excuse me. The first thing is I'm sick. I'm sorry. I've had the flu for the past week, and my voice is pretty shot, so I apologize for that. And please excuse me if I have a lot of pauses in the video. I don't want to cough into the mic or anything. Okay, so the second thing that I wanted to address is namespace std. Okay, so in Comp Sci 1, our professor allowed us to use namespace std like so. Doing so enabled us to output text like this. And if you were to run it, the text is output down here. However, this goes against best practices. In the professional world and the real world, this is avoided because this can lead to naming collisions. And so it's best practice to omit that line. And if you were going to see out something, you would simply use a namespace like this. If you have any further questions about naming collisions or about why using namespace std goes against best practices, then I highly encourage you to check out resources like Stack Overflow, and they go into that stuff in great detail. Okay, so with that being said, for this example, all my couts or my end lines, I'm going to be declaring the std namespace like this. Okay, so for the first function, I'm going to be declaring a void function. In C++, it's a static language, so you have to declare everything. So I'm going to declare my first function as a void function, and this one will simply output text. For this project, the functions that I'm going to build will convert time in minutes and hours to seconds. So the first function will simply be text that will be used in the next functions that I build. So this one will simply be called display message. Now notice there are no parameters for this function. And again, you have to declare the function that you are building. So this void will have a cout, and it will say the following. Just like that. And that is the first function. There are no return values for void functions. Okay, so now my second function, which will be my first int function. This one will be minutes 2 seconds. Okay, so this one will have one parameter. It will have an int argument, and I will call it minutes. Now again, just a refresher, any function that you create, you can call it whatever you want. So my first void function, I labeled it display message, and all it does is display this message. My next function, I'm going to use it to convert minutes to seconds, and as such I called it minutes to seconds. And it will take this argument, an int argument, so that means I have to put in a number here, and then I'm going to use the number that's passed to return the total seconds of the minutes. So first thing is I'm going to invoke the previous function, the first function, the void function, And then I'm going to do another cout to indicate that we are in the minutes to seconds function. So whatever argument that's passed, I'm going to call it, and then output the following text. And then we're going to return the total time. So every minute has 60 seconds, so we will multiply the minutes by 60. Now, return values are used primarily for further calculations. I'm not going to do more calculations with this return value in this example, but I'm still going to use the return value down here when I output it. Okay, so now the next function will be an int function, so I'm declaring it as such, and this one will be hours to seconds. And just like the previous one, it will have one parameter, which is an int argument, and this one will be called hours. Now, just like the functions, you can call them whatever you want. You can call the arguments whatever you want. So I called it minutes, and for the second one, I called it hours. Again, I'm going to invoke the first void function, and then I'm going to basically copy all of this, but just change a couple things. So I'm going to cout the hours that they pass into the function right here, and then I'm going to output that it's the hours function, or at least this will identify that it's the hours to second function. And I'm going to return the total time in seconds of the hours. So 1 hour has 3,600 seconds. So however many hours are in the argument, are passed as an argument, will be multiplied by 3,600. And now I have my two int functions that I will use to convert the time, and I have one void function that is invoked in each of these two functions. So to display it, we have to do some std couts for each of the function, and we have to pass our own arguments. So for minutes to seconds, the first one, see how it opens up like this? That's where I pass the first one. So it has to be an int because we declared it as such. So this one will be easy for us to verify. 2 minutes, this should output 120. So this one should be 120. And then I can do, let me just copy this. Oops, forgot the S, but not to fear. Okay, now I'll just change this one. I'll do it one more time, and I'll do this one to 50. Alright, now I'm going to do the same thing, but for the hours to seconds. And same thing, this one will be 2. And I will change this one to 5 and this one to 50. And then if we run it, so you'll see that the first one is correct. 2 hours, it's 3,600 times 2 is 7,200. So this one's correct, and all of the numbers are correct. So that's the review of the C++ functions. Thank you, and have a great day.